Let's take a look at the 7 Chambers TOR Acolyte lightsaber. So this is a custom saber that is inspired by the design of the Sith Acolyte lightsaber in the Star Wars The Old Republic video game. And well, before I get much further in this video, you'll notice maybe I sound a little nasally, and that's actually because I'm getting over the terrible virus that we've had for past couple years floating around. So I'm on the tail end of getting over that. So just a little disclaimer there. Now back to the video. So this hilt, well, first of all, it's made by 7 Chambers, or 7 Chambers is a UK-based custom saber company, and this was made in collaboration with a company called 5280 Printing, or however you pronounce the numbers in that name. Yeah, so it was a collaboration there. You'll notice that the hilt is quite long, so this hilt is actually over 13 inches long. So yeah, that's pretty good size. And then the diameter goes up to about 1.5 inches at the widest point. Now you'll notice this part just fell out. The hilt does come with custom switch plungers, so there's one for the activation switch at the front, and then on the rear there's kind of a lower profile one for an auxiliary switch. Now we've got this really cool shroud at the top. That's kind of one of the signature elements of the design of this entire hilt. So it's really nice how it covers up the emitter section kind of partially on the one side. And it attaches to the hilt, the shroud attaches to the hilt with these 2 screws here. They're these very small screws. So you can very easily remove this and customize it, with etching or, any other way you may want to customize that. And there's I'll just move this to the side. There's retention screw, blade retention screw here. There's also one hidden under the shroud here. Now moving down, we've got a little bit of a taper to form like a choke point in this section. And then the middle of the hilt is really a wide part of the hilt here. And you can see it's made of sort of like a thicker piece of metal, and so it does add a little weight. So when you have the hilt by itself, it makes sort of like the balance point kind of more centralized. Now if you attach a blade, that'll change it a little bit too. Now moving down the hilt, we have these really cool thin vertical grooves. And, that would favor certain customizations. You could get some nice color contrast. It creates sort of like a pinstripe effect. And then at the base of the hilt, we have this removable pommel. It has sound vents on the bottom. They create sort of a sunburst shape. So you have these stadium-shaped individual vents, and they sort of form almost a sort of sunburst shape. And then there's this little dome with the D-ring attached to it, so you can wear this on your belt. Now this hilt breaks down into several pieces. So some of the main pieces that come apart there. So this is one solid piece, but the shroud is removable. And then the lower part of the grip section and the pommel, those are both removable too. So for the whole hilt, kind of these 3 main pieces separate, and then the shroud also separates. So I can demo that. Just has these really teeny tiny screws here. There's one. There's the other. So I'll just kind of show what this looks like without the shroud. So if for some reason you didn't want to have the shroud, you could have the hilt that way too. Now you do have these extra kind of holes for the screws there, but okay, so this kind of gives you an idea of what the hilt looks like without the shroud too. And there's that additional retention screw hole. Now the shroud is really well done, so there are not sharp edges here or anything, which is always appreciated. So now if I just add these screws back, so this is really a nice kind of hilt for customization. As you can see, it has kind of the raw finish and has lots of different nooks and crannies, and then it has the shroud, so all those types of things favor customization. You know, adding some color, some weathering, some etching for the shroud particularly. Lots of great options there. All right, so we're back in action. Anyway, this has been a look at the 7 chambers TOR Acolyte lightsaber, and it's inspired by the video game Star Wars The Old Republic, and specifically one of the in-game lightsabers, the kind of basic Sith Acolyte lightsaber. So feel free to comment below.